Hashem is very, very particular about the clothing of the Kohen Gadol and the Kohanim in general, to such a point where he actually mentions several times that if there's a mistake is being made, the Kohen gets a death penalty. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל יהיה מדברו. Now, this seems a little bit extreme. If you don't understand it, it seems a little extreme. Why it seems a little extreme? Okay, so the guy has 8 pieces of clothing. He forgot one of them. Forgot one. So he wore 7. Why? It makes him a rasha because he wore 7 pieces of clothing? He wore 7 instead of 8. Or not that. He wore all 8. But one of the bells that he had fell off. He didn't notice. But death penalty because he's missing a bell? It's a bell. It's slide a little bit. He has all 8 pieces of clothing. One bell fell off. Wow, no. Why you machmir? Why are you so strict? Because each one of these pieces of clothing, Abotai Karim, means eternity. First and foremost, we understand right from the beginning, to answer one person's question, is that in chapter 28, verse 5, Hashem Yitbarach says, they shall take gold and turquoise and purple and scarlet wool and linen. These are the different things that make the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. So here we see something peculiar. There is shatnez, wool and linen. There's a rule in the Torah that if you wear wool and linen together, it's like you have fire on. Where if you know one of your friends has, chas v'shalom, wool and linen at the same time, he has a jacket and he has a little wool and linen in it, and you know for sure it's in there. It's not like safek. For sure you know he has shatnez on. You, not only you should, you're obligated to what? Take off the jacket off of his back. Why? It's like fire. Every single second that he wears wool and linen is a sin from the Torah. Not a rabbinical sin, it's a sin from the Torah, sin from Hashem. Hey, hold on a second. Kohen Gadol, the biggest tzaddik in town, he's wearing shatnez. How could it be? Already here we see, he's special. He's different. It's like an island. The Bet HaMikdash was an island. It wasn't an island really. Meaning, different rules apply in the Bet HaMikdash. You were able to light fire on Shabbat in the Bet HaMikdash. Why? Korbanot. It's like a different island. It's a different place. It's unique. It's not really of this world. When someone is a Kohen Gadol, he's partly in this world, he's partly in Olam Haba. Different rules apply. Different rules apply. So already we see, whereas an average guy like us is making a sin from the Torah, wearing shatnez, he's making a mitzvah. This is one corner, the other one, other corner. Why? Different world, different rules. Why? It's Kohen Gadol. So already we see something extraordinary. Next, we see that it says in verse 11, a jeweler crop, when it's talking about the ephod, the thing that he had over here, it talks about how it had the stones on the shoulders, and also later on talks about the breastplate. It says something we talked about last week in the Mishnah in Avot, where it says a jeweler's craft like an engraving or a signet ring. Shall you engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel? So the 2 stones that the Kohen had on his shoulders had the names of the 12 tribes. But it says it's going to be like an engraving. What do you mean like? Is it an engraving or it's not? If I tell you, listen, write me a letter with what? Something like a pen. Okay, is it a pen or is it a pencil? It's like a pencil. So it's a pencil then. No, it's not a pencil. It's like a pencil. It's like a pen, but it's like a pencil. No, you have to decide. You're driving me crazy now. Pick one. Pencil or pen? Okay, it's a marker. No. It's like a marker. You have to pick one. Are you crazy? Are you in this world or in the other world? Which way are you in? No, it's like. What's like? If you read the Hebrew and you understand it, you see it's the translation is the best they can do. Why? It doesn't say like. What does it say? Tiftach et shtei avanim. The two rocks will be opened. What does it mean, opened? Like I spoke to you guys last week, the shamir worm made a mark that made the names of the 12 shvatim, of the 12 tribes, that looked like it was an engraving, but it wasn't an engraving. Why? Because an engraving takes away a piece of the material, a piece of the rock. You engrave the wall, a small part of the wall will be lost. But the shamir worm, it didn't engrave it. It looked like it engraved it, but in reality it just opened it. Tiftach. Tiftach means it opened it. It's like a laser. Like a laser. So here you see what we learned last week's Mishnah. It's like Hashem had it all planned out. So, then you continue. Where it says, "V'nasa Aaron et shmotam lifnei Adonai al shtei ktefav lezikaron." It says, Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, he shall carry their names. These two rocks that have it on the shoulders should carry their names, meaning the 12 tribes, before Hashem, on his shoulders as a remembrance. Wait a minute. Hashem forgot the 12 tribes? No, it says you should have the names of the 12 tribes. So when he comes in front of Hashem in the Kodesh Kodashim, Hashem can see it and he remembers. What do you mean he remembers? He forgot them? So Chazal says that when God sees the names, he recalls their righteousness. He recalls the 12 shvatim, the 12 tribes, and he remembers all their righteous acts, all the good things that they did, all the amazing things they did in their entire lives. But then you can say, wait a minute, does Hashem really need to see the names in order to remember? Hashem remembers. He doesn't need to see anything to remember. So here the Musar that we're learning is really not for Hashem. It's for us. Rabbi Israel Misalant one time brought a big fish to his Bet Midrash. Everyone is learning, but a lot of their learning they did from watching Rabbi Israel. They saw today, Kvod Harav with the Ruach HaKodesh has a giant fish with him too. Maybe he's going to bring the fish back to life. I don't know. So everyone's waiting to see what he's going to do with the fish. He puts the fish on the stender over there on top of the table, takes a ninja knife, chops his head off. Everyone's looking. Okay, maybe he's going to put him back together now. Another piece off. Okay, maybe he's making it even more difficult to put them together. He cuts them into little pieces. Okay, now everybody's very curious. Can he really put it back together? It's quiet. He's not saying anything. So all the students hearing and seeing this noise, they gather around the Kvod Harav and said, what are we going to learn here? Is there magic? What's happening? And then Rabotai Karim, he looks at all of his students and he says, you see this fish? You see what it used to be, yeah. That's what's going to happen to you if you don't learn Torah every day. What we didn't know, it's what we hear already. We're learning Torah. No. Seeing is believing. You have to see. I told you, a lot of things I told you. But sometimes you need to see it. Sometimes you need to see. Sometimes somebody needs to die in order to believe in Gehenom. They have near-death experiences and all types of hallucinations and so on. Sometimes Hashem has to kill you in order to make you do tshuva. Sometimes He has to make you sick in order for you to do tshuva. Sometimes He has to take all your money in order for you to realize that all the money came from Him in the first place. Sometimes He has to get you to go through all types of problems in order for you to realize He is the only solution. Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. He says, Shmotam lifnei Hashem al shtei ktefav lezikaron. The names are going to be on his shoulders in front of Hashem as a memory. Why is a memory? For their acts. Why? Every one of us is obligated to say, when are my acts going to be like their acts? Why? Their acts were so good, Hashem engraved their names on the shoulders of the Kohen Gadol. And the entire nation was saved because of things they used to do. Did you ever do anything that was worth it? Did you ever do anything that anyone's going to be saved for? If you didn't, it's time to do it. It's time. We got to get started. How long are you thinking you'll live? 500 years? It's time to get started. What are you, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70? It's time to get started now.